What's happening, guys? Austin here, and did you miss us? Thanks for tuning back in for the DevvE Weekly Roundup. That's right, we are back. Promised you guys we would come back with these weekly roundups once the news cycle started, and it looks like the news cycle has started. I don't know if you noticed this. Davin has a new home office that he built that he's currently working out of, a great studio that he has just for these recordings. Davin, how you doing, buddy? Good to see you.
Good, thanks, mate. And yourself? All good?
I'm good. I'm really excited to be back with you here. I know that, there's just something about seeing our faces and hearing the voices and having us, break stuff down for them in a freestyle manner that I think tends to land on the community a little bit stronger than maybe like the well-produced videos or just the chats and the messages. So thank you so much for being here today at an ungodly early hour. Wow, man, I can't speak today.
It is 8:30 here in Australia, and that's in the AM. But I have to say, you know what, my working day started at 5:30. So I think we were just discussing off air. It's also just incredibly hot at the moment. And a car office is probably I'm going to have to do something because there's air conditioning inside. I've got all sorts of stuff, but with family and kids and everybody else going to school, my office is not a great place for me to be at 5:30 in the morning. So we'll work on that for next time.
I don't blame you, man. Okay, cool. So, all right, we did say that once some news started coming out, we would restart the weekly roundups. The news that came out last week was Will Stewart. And while the press release that went out was tied up nice in a bow, real professional, I dropped a video behind it kind of hinting at what kind of a big deal that Will was. But I really want to kick that over to you because I don't think anything I said really did him justice to the magnitude of what he brings, to DevvE and to DevvDigital and DevvExchange. And so I wanted to kind of just let you freestyle on that for a little bit about Will.
Yeah, so I mean, Will, he's an exceptional individual. I mean, what he unlocks for us on the DevvDigital side is huge. I think kind of as you said, the press release and the detail that we can release and have released doesn't really scratch the surface. His capabilities, and he's been familiar with the project for a long time. He's worked as an advisor on the DevvE side, but has never taken a permanent role or a full-time position with the team. And there's been a number of reasons for that. I mean, partly, and again, I don't want to tell Will's story for him, but he turned down, a board seat and probably two big opportunities that I'm aware of with FTSE 100, Global 100 companies that offered him pretty much a blank check to come and do what he does. Apart from the fact that he's incredibly well connected and has a ton of institutional contacts and people that he can reach out to. He has a huge interest in the tokenized asset space. This is one of his sweet spots, and he's been a massive advocate for the last probably 5 or 6 years at least in the movement globally towards tokenized assets, which means that everything that he does is lining up behind his belief that very, very soon we are going to see this kind of mass migration, which has already started with real world assets, securities, and other any asset that can be tokenized and brought online is going to happen. It's if you hear Will talk, it's it's a foregone conclusion, and I have to say I believe him. So what Will brings, apart from capital growth and kind of access to markets and institutional partners and a huge Rolodex of just the who's who of TradFi and the who's who of institutional investment, is this kind of passion, knowledge, and strategy around the movement of assets into that tokenized space. And that's perfectly aligned with exactly what it is that we're trying to achieve. And so I know Will's incredibly excited to be part of that and to lead that from the board in DevvDigital and to take an active role within the business, which is something that, again, as I said, he's had more than a fair share of offers and has turned them down. So we're very grateful to have him, and very grateful that he's chosen to align with what we're doing.
So just for the sake of exciting the community about this, because you're kind of on the inside, I'm a little bit more on the inside, but not as much as you are. So and correct me or fill in the blanks if I miss anything. But so Will, just to kind of cap it here, Will, long history in the venture space, had 5 venture funds, 2 debt funds. His first 2 investors were Bill Gates and Paul Allen.
Yeah.
Yeah. Most recently, he comes from, he was the executive chairman of Expansive, which is the world's largest spot carbon exchange, where he raised north of $700 million for them. The man holds, from what I could tell in his LinkedIn, and who knows if it's comprehensive or not, but he's got at least a half a dozen board seats, maybe a dozen advisory roles that he holds, which includes 5 years with DevvEO, I think a few years with DevStream as well. What else? There's a lot there. Or did I cap it? Did we get there?
I mean, again, you could probably spend 45 minutes to an hour just talking about Will and his background, and knowing Will, he would be very embarrassed by that. So I'm not going to embarrass him. But let's just say that there are probably a couple of handfuls of people in the world that have his kind of direct experience and credentials, and what he can bring to the table is just, not just the contacts, but the ability to execute and the ability to deliver the partnerships that we're kind of looking for. And from an acquisitions point of view, from a capital growth point of view, it's huge.
All right. So to kick this forward, so the community has been, chomping at the bit, right? So if I miss a meal, if I don't feed my puppy for a couple of hours, she is just at my heels, right? And honestly, with good reason, right? I understand that we've been in a bull market, and DevvE has done very, very well thus far. But I think the general sentiment is, the overarching vision of what we're building warrants us to be further along. And I know that a lot of people have a lot of varying ideas, and I'm not going to confirm or deny their suspicions about what those ideas are, but there was an expectation, I think, of, and I have to own this, right? I let it slip out on a live stream. I said in January, accidentally, and that was taken as gospel. And so, but I want to discuss that with you. Where are we at with that, as far as revealing that? Do you understand what I'm saying without going too far?
Yeah. No, I do. And while you are part of the team, everything is very segmented in terms of operations, in terms of some of the partnerships and some of the negotiations that are going on. It's not that we are trying to kind of compartmentalize or kind of hold that information, but there is a process that these things go through, right? They have to go through all of the checks and balances of and having an entire team on a meeting, or having an entire group of people who are kind of behind closed doors. It just doesn't work in any kind of situation. So you do a great job with secondhand, sometimes third-hand information that that is kind of fed out in terms of describing what we're doing and where we're at. We obviously try to make sure that we have conversations and those sorts of things, but there's absolutely no harm, no foul in kind of dropping little bits and pieces. And I know that you push us really, really hard to grab whatever information you can extract from us so that you can share that with the community. And I think you guys in the community who are watching this, you won't really appreciate how hard this guy works to crowbar what he can say from us. And we're not trying to keep this from you at the same time. We're just trying to make sure that, I guess, our approach from a business point of view has always been, we want to have the fundamentals in place. We want to make sure that what we're talking about is not hype. We're not a vaporware project. We are based on real fundamentals. We are based on tangible actions and things that are happening because those actually drive value in the wider marketplace. So us speculating or kind of making announcements or partnerships that have no real benefit, those are games that people play, but that's not what we are, because we have this huge goal, this big vision to bring the institutional money into tokenized assets. We have this huge goal to unlock opportunity for, you know, anyone on the retail side that's interested in digital assets. And you know, how we communicate that, and you, Austin, are at the forefront of how we communicate that, is not always really easy, right? It's a huge challenge, and so I think you're doing just an exceptional job to kind of pass that information from us, and we're trying to extract that from partners and third parties, and obviously, you know, give that to the community in a way that's meaningful and timely. But circling back to your original question and the point, you know, we have, you know, and this is probably well known, in certain circles anyway, but, you know, we have signed a partnership deal. We are moving forward, you know, on a fairly groundbreaking way with a large TradFi partner. The deal was signed late last year. Everything is really moving forward nicely, on that side. You know, there's a number of different, kind of phases of that, both in terms of merging the technologies, integrations, and all of the other pieces that have to come to the forefront. All I can say is that it's going incredibly well. You know, we are incredibly positive. There's a number of events planned for this year. There are going to be, you know, we're working at the moment on a kind of a marketing platform that will help to kind of guide people through that process, to give them early access to onboard through, you know, all of the kind of early access channels, rewards channels, and other bits and pieces that, you know, that you would expect from this type of thing. So there are announcements that are going to be coming out. We may or may not, you know, announce, you know, names. We want to do a joint press release when that partnership in particular is, you know, fully in place. We are, as I said, again, working through, you know, it's a done deal, but we are working through all of the various, you know, criteria that needs to be kind of met on both sides before we can make, you know, big press releases and things like that. So, but there are, I mean, that's one of many. You know, that is a hugely important partnership, but there are many others that we will, you know, undoubtedly see fall out in the next sort of weeks and months. And while that one is very exciting, I'd like to say that the others are also really, really exciting for what they bring to the table, right? And you know, these are, again, pathways to bring entrenched user bases who previously not had access to the types of assets that we're talking about. These are partners that unlock, you know, solutions on the banking side potentially. These are partners that unlock solutions on the custody side. These are partners that we're talking through, you know, the market making and liquidity and all of those sides. So, yeah, there's a lot there, and I know what you're talking about, and I know that, you know, you're probably gonna, you know, crowbar me to try and say something that I shouldn't, but it is again, you know, something that we're really pleased to be working through, and you know, as far as we're concerned on our side, you know, it's a done deal. Whether we can announce publicly or, you know, we're going through all of those details right now.
Well, I'm actually not going to crowbar you, because after, you know, almost, I guess, 9 months on the team, right, and really now understanding the magnitude of what's going on in the back end, there is no way in hell. Can I say hell on YouTube? Probably. I just did. There's no way in hell that I'm going to derail this by getting you to pop off accidentally at the mouth, you know, just for the sake of views. So I want everyone watching. I got a DM from somebody last night, right? And I think, you know, there's probably like a silent minority in the community that feels uneasy for certain reasons, right? And the DM basically went like this: well, we were promised January. No, we weren't. I slipped on January, but now we're in February, and something must be wrong. It must not have happened, you know, because we didn't get the announcement, right? That was kind of the without going into the actual detail. That was, and I wrote him back and I said, no, we're actually in a much better position even today than we were a month ago or 2 months ago, right? Now that we're sitting in this position, but as is not uncommon in traditional deals, like you just mentioned, there are checkpoints, there are things that have to go through. And I want to ask you, and maybe you can relay this, why is it going to be so much better for us in the long run to not only knock out these things, but to do a joint announcement in this regards, as opposed to just a DevvE announcement?
Yeah, I mean, not wanting to state the obvious, but the impact of a joint announcement is really going to speak to both markets. the people that need to know, right? The partners at an institutional level and at a number of different levels are aware of what we're doing. It's not something that, we're holding close to our chests. It is embargoed, because of the reasons that I talked about, but, having the power of a joint press release, which I know that they're pushing for as well, by the way. This is not something that, we are kind of slow walking or deliberately holding up, but there are from a wider market news point of view, from a big news cycle point of view, and from an impact point of view, having that joint press release just means that we're amplifying the message on both sides, which again is going to be incredibly powerful, and just reach as many people as we possibly can, because ultimately, any kind of press release or any kind of announcement, it's about reach, and it's about timeliness, and it's about people who are wanting to research, gather information, educate themselves around, whatever it is that's being released, have the ability to do that in their own time and capacity. It's not about pushing price or doing any of those types of things. None of this has anything to do with what we're doing in our strategy. It's really to make sure that everybody who's involved, both on our side, on the DevvE side, and on the wider community side, have the depth of news and information that they require in order to kind of make decisions, want to move forward, be excited about what we're bringing to the table. And on the other side, the institutional side, there's this meeting of minds around what we're unlocking and the capabilities and the possibilities from a traditional asset and digital asset management perspective. And again, that plays into some of these other partnerships that I've kind of mentioned or hinted at, both on the custody side, on the asset management side, and banking and the solutions that we're integrating there as well. So all of those things come together. It's really about information cycle, and it's about effectiveness of that information. We don't want to be doing these kind of weekly roundups, saying the same thing to again and again and again, just in case someone's missed it. Once an announcement like this is done, it's out there, it's in the public, it's widely acknowledged, it's searchable, it's findable, it's a public record of what's happening. And that's really powerful. So yeah, for all of those reasons and a ton more, we want to wait. We want to make sure that this is, again, doing things the right way, in the right order, because that really makes sense.
Indeed. Okay, so I want to pivot us just slightly before we wrap up here. Is it safe to say, so I know a lot of people not a lot of people, but some people kind of got the impression that because we were all hands on deck for DevvExchange, which is a topic I want to cap us with, I think some people got the impression that maybe we were pulling back on our work with the impact assets or our sovereign states and things of that nature. And my impression thus far has been there has been not a bit of pullback on that, and that's all still full steam ahead. Am I accurate in saying that, Davin?
Yeah, 100%. And that could be miscommunication. Undoubtedly, DevvExchange is a huge priority. It is our number one priority, because that is a central hub. It aligns everything that we're doing on the impact side. It aligns everything that we're doing on the wider business side, because it provides, utility and value and everything that unlocks all of these other verticals and business opportunities. But that said, impact assets is still a massive priority. There'll be some news about that. I can guarantee there'll be some news about that in the next 4 weeks. There is a huge movement within the Forever side of the business to kind of expand our offerings and what we're doing. Not just on the impact side, but on the digital infrastructure side, which is, again, just going to unlock a huge number of doors that will, again, come through the exchange as a vehicle. So the exchange as a product, as a kind of a central location, as a vehicle, is critical to all of these plans. So while it is absolutely fair to say that our priority on DevvDigital and the DevvExchange side is kind of absolute, and we have a lot of our resources being allocated to making sure all of those things happen. Unequivocally, on the Forever side, we are definitely moving forward with all of the plans as stated. Beautiful.
Okay, so I want to just kick us off to DevvExchange for our last topic, if we could. Not the tech. We've gotten into the tech a lot, and we could get into a long conversation. I don't want to do that. But, just launching an exchange is not even close to the full picture. There's a big rollout that's going to happen, the red carpet leading up to the launch of the exchange. And I wanted to ask you, what can the community expect to start seeing along the way as kind of checkpoints to gauge where we're at in the process?
Yeah, no, that's a really good question. So there's kind of a number of phases to that. One is marketing, one is technical, one is probably going to be a combination of those partnerships, events, all of the various different pieces being brought into kind of alignment. There are going to be some touch points that people can expect to see. We're going to have a user onboarding funnel, which allows people to go through and kind of register their interest, sign up for the exchange, sign up for, any of the, early access benefits and rewards. We're going to have a series of events, and we're obviously working through our marketing plan at the moment around, the events that will be present at, what will be happening at those events. We're working through the, kind of integration pieces, the technical pieces, the kind of phased roadmap of technology rollouts to MVP. Basically we have a lot of those things pretty much already in place, but then we're looking at the integrations on the kind of complementary services side, so that we've talked about banking and digital banking solutions. There's going to be a bunch of news and information regarding, our approvals and licensing and regulatory approvals in certain jurisdictions and areas. As again, that's part of, we all know why the platform has been built in a way that it's been built. There will also be kind of updates on business and partnerships, which again will start to flow through, and you'll see whether those partners involve onboarding of assets, whether they involve complementary services, whether they involve delivering things that we need as part of our ecosystem and infrastructure, and adding value to them, their communities, their ecosystems and infrastructure as well. So it's going to be really, really busy, really exciting 6 months. I have to say, Austin, like I'm kind of already not sure that there's enough hours in the day, but the way things are moving forward, on plan, the trajectory is everything that we've kind of been working towards. From our point of view, everything is on track. It's incredibly positive, and so we want to share as much of that as possible with the community. We're not going to push out things, and again, just to give you guys reassurances, we're managing this with a long-term view. Obviously you guys are forefront of that. Anyone that supported us, anyone that's a holder of tokens, anyone that's interested in what we're unlocking, the opportunities, the new markets, the new value, we're going to do all of this in a way that makes sense for you, but also to protect the value long term, right? It's not about playing games or kind of news for the sake of news. That none of that's changed. Our approach to this is business first, process first, doing all of the right things in the right order.
Beautiful, man. Beautiful. And will there be an opportunity for the community to, be beta testers or anything of that nature? Is that going to be coming about prior to full launch?
Yeah. And that's, again, a really, really good point. We absolutely want to unlock opportunities for the community. We want to unlock people who, want to participate in some of that feedback. We want to unlock the opportunity for people to provide, insight and opinions around everything from, design through to capabilities, through to, interface, and be early participants and really kind of leverage that opportunity to be first, because there are going to be some pretty big upsides for people. There's going to be some very big reward opportunities. We're not, it's not an airdrop approach, lots of these kind of businesses that want to go through a fair launch, or they want to raise funds, or they want to do those such things. They'll onboard people, make them perform a ton of social tasks and things like that for an airdrop or, whatever. We're talking about orders of magnitude greater, opportunities for people should they want to participate early, if they want to get in early. We're going to provide lots of pipeline opportunities for people to do that, and for people to bring in more people, and a rising tide raises all boats. So again, anyone that's watching this, anyone that's either a community member or is thinking about becoming involved, you are still early. You're at the right time, you're in the right place, you're very well positioned. it's going to get crowded very soon. But you know, we're going to look after you guys first.
Wonderful. And just to, you know, to end this just on from a little personal story, I had a call with a buddy of mine this morning who, you know, he's got a big project that I had put some money in pre-sale, and very talented developer. And he was all excited. He reached back. He said, look, these big TradFi guys contracted with us to bring stocks on chain, right? Essentially tokenized stocks. They're held offline, obviously. And he started describing to me the type of architecture he was putting together to make this work on Base. And it was like, we're using zero knowledge proofs over here, and we're doing, you know, a version of fraud, theft, and loss protection in the smart contract, and this and that. And I said, dude, we got all of that, man. Literally all you need to do is deploy and go. Like, we've got all of this in one place already. And it just reminded me how many people don't realize that this exists. And when they realize that it does, it's going to be a sort of moment to the people that are working their butts off to try and recreate this in smart contracts over on pre-existing Turing complete networks. So I am really, really exciting. And I do want to shout out I want to shout out our community real quick. You guys are troopers. I love you. I do my best to respond to every DM very timely, but thank you for your patience. And it is going to pay off. We are on the cusp of some really, really good stuff. So Davin, thank you for sweating through this in the very hot Australia weather. My name's Austin. I'll catch you guys on the next video. Take care, everyone. Bye-bye.
Thanks, guys. Thanks, Austin.